I think there's some unrelevant chat is going on in the chat box. And do you want me to disable this chat option? I can disable it, right? But then you won't be able to write anything. Okay, so I better disable. Okay. Okay. So you can use for personal text your phone, right? So better use your phone's device to have some personal discussion because I think so. You guys have are connected with the phone as well, correct?
No, ma'am.
No, no. Get the phone connections then better. So that will. I want you to chat in a respectable way, so nobody feel like anxiety and so we need to focus on what we need to do, right? Okay, so you figure it out. That's not difficult for you. Anyways, so you configure the server. You uh, this you connect check the connectivity on both side for servers from server 2 to client machine. So you give me this ping screen, right? So remember this one is your um a student 2-digit student ID, right? And then you ping from server to client. So check from each machine that you can communicate to other machines, right? At least. If not two machines, then at least one machine, right? So every two machines should be able to communicate with should be able to communicate with the oops. What it is? Uh, Someone is crying, right?
The red Picasso.
So you want to use my whiteboard if you cannot text. Okay, no worries. I know I can control many things. Don't worry, but I don't want to implement it. Okay, let's get to the point. Uh, so have I thought about DNS server? So IP configuration, you understand, right? How to configure IP addresses and what those addresses mean to you.
Yes, ma'am.
When you assign the mask, subnet mask, and subnet mask, those are the terminologies we use. The network ID, right? In the classes, the class A, class B, and class C IP addresses, and then we also use the uh, uh, CEDAR CEDAR format, classless interdomain addresses. So that was basically the IP address slash the number of bits, how many are there once in the subnet mask. And what else we talk about? How to configure it, right? So manually and DHCP. So manually is you have to enter the IP address and subnet mask and gateway address, DNS address, Um, So what is the DNS? Domain name server, right? So DNS is in Windows Server 2012. You already have installed it, correct? Your server 2 is basically has the DNS role there. So your server 2 already has DNS role. It is a role on server machine, just another role. You can assign it, correct? So now you're going to learn something about DNS, what it is, how does it work on your server machine or server operating system. When I'm saying server machine, well, that's an operating system which make that machine a server machine, right? So you install the operating system, server operating system, it becomes a server. You install the client operating system, then it behaves like a client machine. Well, client server can be a client to another server. That's another thing. So zone types and their uses. So I'll give you the quick overview of DNS, which is according to our course learning outcome. So configuring DNS server properties. This is we going to do under this lab. Hopefully today, if we are left, if you're going to cooperate in trying to follow the pace, I'm not going to go too fast, but just try to follow the instructions. So then I would be able to tell you how to configure DNS properties on your server 2 because you didn't configure anything yet on your server 2 for DNS. You just have installed it, right? So configure common resource record. That's a part of the DNS. Now let me explain you uh, what is the DNS is. Domain names server or services, right? It's basically, server has a name. You have assigned a name. I told you to assign a string ID and server 1 and something like server 2 or something like this, right? So when you try to reach to a computer on a network or an internet, how do you go there? How do you go to your how do you go to a website? You go
Open,
by
opening a
you,
Chrome or any other software which can give access to our internet.
yeah, you provide the it's you say it is a web address, right? Web address. For instance, you want to go to Microsoft.com, so you type in www.microsoft.com. So what if I uh, stop share? If I go to, or you can go to your CMD of your Windows operating system. Go quickly there and see how can you reach to uh, how can you reach. I want to disconnect this PowerPoint for a few minutes, but it's not letting me to do. Okay, so maybe I have to close this one. Uh, discard. Okay, so if I go to Microsoft.com, for instance, um, ping, ping, I can ping the server what I have installed on my virtual machine from here, from host machine as well, because they are on the same network. As long as they are on the same network, they are pingable. If they are not in the same network, then we cannot ping them. Yes. What should I do? Yes. Ping www, correct? Sorry, Chandra ma'am, can you please explain again how to check the connection between? Okay, I come to this point. Okay, so if you guys are serious to learn, then I can teach you, right? Well, getting marks is not that difficult, You can make it easily. There are a variety of ways to get the 100% marks. You know better than me. Okay, so here, um, if I go to ping what? Um, Microsoft, for instance, Microsoft. So what did I do here? The spelling is wrong. Okay. So this is a 54 millisecond has been taken. And this is the route it has taken to reach to this Microsoft server. What is the actual IP address for reaching out to Microsoft.com server? That is 72.247.170.32, right? That is the IP address. Well, that is the IP address, public IP address, right? So, but this Microsoft is basically uh, the DNS name, right? Domain. So, what does the DNS server do when you send a query? I'm looking for Microsoft.com, right? Because it is easier for you to access a website by using its name rather than typing in 72.247.170.32. It is harder to remember those many IP addresses on the internet, right? So in order to resolve this query, DNS server performs a role which basically translate uh, your domain name, your IP address to the computer name, right? And vice versa. Can you ping? Yeah, sure. Why not? Ping what? 234 dot. What is 108? Hmm? What is this? What is this IP address? Your public IP address? I don't think so. I can. No, it's not reachable. Your public IP address? Well, you can ask your friend to check it out. Yeah, you can ask your friend to check it out. So Akash want to ping his IP address, but that is the 192.168 you guys are having, right? You check it out with IP config, and it was uh, that was the private IP address you are working on with. Anyways, so let me get to let's try to focus. That will help. So once we understand, have some thought, then I'll go to individual question. Reshow how to ping from server one to server two. Really, you don't remember?
Ma'am, mine is showing 100% loss.
100% loss. What's wrong? Did you configure? Okay, let me stop this slide. This is what you want, right? I'll come back to if I get a chance. If you want me to explain it, or you can try to learn it from internet. What the DNS server is. Let me get to individual query first. So this is the server one, for instance, for my site, right? Server one. You can see the server name here, and the IP addresses had been configured according to my IP config all on my host computer. So this is my DNS server. So DNS is responsible to translate the IP address into the host name and vice versa. You go to the property, right? So what did you enter at the DNS server? Check it out. Start from here. So first you had checked your IP config all, right? So you had checked it on your host computer. Means I'm repeating. Please, I'm repeating. Make a note. Is that okay? You all ready? Whoever has a problem in making a connection. Okay. So you get this IP config from your host computer. In IP config. So check it out. So you need to check not everything, just check just check it out. Your default gateway. DHCP server is this is the information provided by your ISP, and the mask is class C. Looks like class C mask, right? So make a note of this IP address. What not of mine IP address? That's not gonna work for you. So you it could be in the class A range or class C range. Mine is in class C private address. So 192.168 .2.11. This is my Windows 10 IP address. Not assigned manually. Remember, I didn't assign it manually. This is assigned by my DHCP server, domain dynamic host control protocol server, which is set up by my internet service provider, right? So you get to there, verify it. So we didn't do that any manual IP address assignment. Normally, this is what recommended by the ISP service provider. And then you make a note of this 192.168. Okay, so this is almost same. This one default gateway, DHCP server, and your DNS. Okay, just now you're going to set up your own, right? So you got your network ID. Now you're going to connect your virtual machine network. I told you earlier that you're going to connect your virtual machine network to because you had bridged it, right? So you're going to connect it to your host network. What is the host network? 192, for instance, 192.168.2.x. What is X here? That is the last two digit of your IP address. Okay, okay, I'll do that. Not right away. So then I don't need to explain it again. I did it already. Okay, is that okay? I explained it yesterday, so I don't need to repeat it for 10 times. I'll post this instruction, what you need to ping from, what you need to ping, and what is screenshot need to be included on your lab instruction sheet. Would it be fine then?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But that's not going to tell you how to where to go for finding your server, how to turn on your server, and how to get to your TCP/IP configuration. No, I'm not going to give you tiny teeny
Ma'am,
steps there.
can you repeat
Okay.
once?
Sorry,
Can you repeat once, ma'am?
I didn't understand. What did you say? If you guys are focusing, then I would. If you're doing multitask, you multitask and having some too many things engaged, and then you ask after every 30, 10 minutes, what did you say, Bishra? Can you repeat it? Well, that's not worth really then, right? If you guys promise me to follow along now, then I'll repeat it. Put
Okay,
up your
ma'am.
hand. So put up your hand if you're ready to follow along. I'll repeat then. Every time whenever I'm trying to do a poll, I get a response 50%. Maybe the other 50% just want to stay quiet. They are neutral, have no opinion to say, right? Other 50% say we don't want to contribute in anything. Whatever is going on, let it to go. Is that correct? So every time, since I start teaching this course with you, and I'm getting not more than 30%, like 30 responses out of the 60, half of the class just participating. What other half gonna do? Well, they need to start thinking about it. Anyways, so 30%, 50% response is good enough for me to motivate you, and to teach you again. Okay, so let's get to where you are stuck. You are on your server 2, right? So this is server 2, right? So you are on server, which is the DNS server. Server 2 is the server which has the DNS configuration. Okay, so go to click on this Ethernet tab. If you had entered an IP address or not entered an IP address, go to the IPv4 properties. Okay, so this is same for all Windows-based operating system. Since some Windows 7 or XP also have that same feature. So we configure Ethernet, our network adapter card for the networking, right? So we are first enabling local network. So what we had chosen here is manual, right? Why manual? Because DNS want a manual IP address. DNS cannot be a DHCP client. It's not possible. You can have other computers DHCP client, but then we have to install a DHCP role to our server. So just to minimize the task, I'm asking to enter the uh, manual IP address. Now the question is what this IP address could be. Well, this one is coming from first 3 octet. First 3 octet is from your host computer, network ID. Okay, so your host computer, as I explained last time, this is your host computer, for instance, right? So running what you are running, let's suppose Windows 10 is running there. So what is the network ID of this? Network ID. So network ID, get the network ID. How? By using ipconfig/all, as I did here, right? So get this information and plus IP address, get the IP address of this Windows machine. First know your Windows machine and IP address, and then get the gateway, default gateway. That's it. Default gateway. Get those three, get those two information first. And one more thing, subnet mask. So get this 3 information. Everybody has this 3 information, right? So once you get this information, so network ID, for instance, I had an IP address here, dot 11, right? So I would say 192.168.2.11, and then my 192.168.2.1, right? And my subnet mask is 255. Remember, this is how we use subnet class C, subnet class C, subnet class. Okay. So this is the 3 piece of information you need to gather from your host machine. Okay. Got it? Now do a little homework on paperwork. Paperwork is required. What this paperwork is, now based on this, you get this. This one is the network ID. What is the network ID here? Network ID is based on from your subnet mask. So this is your network ID, right? So for Windows 10, I'm talking about Windows 10. So 192.168.2.0. This is the network ID, right? So anything which is on the same network or any device on the same network can be pingable, can be reachable, right? Can be reachable. So well, as not really, not really, because DHCP client may assign you DHCP may assign you different IP address, but not really. Well, it's gonna be in the same combination in the private IP address range. This number may differ, but it does not. I don't think so. No. So you got this month. So on the basis of this, so we're going to connect this. We use this network, which take it to the internet, right? It is connected to internet, right? So we have our virtual machine, our own network system is running on the top of it, right? Remember? So VM1, VM2, and then VM3. So we need 3 IP addresses, right? One is server 2, another is server 1, and another is client 1, right? This is Windows 7, and this is your server 2012 or 2021, right? So as we are working in 2021, yes, 2021 is in the production, but not here. We cannot afford on this in this course. So 2012. So this one, 20 server 2012, right? So those are the 2 machines. So IP address for this, I suggested you. This is going to be last digit is your student ID, last digit, right? Last 2 digit of your student ID. So whatever. So for instance, if I had assigned this one, I said 192.168. I'm going to use same network because I'm going to borrow. Everything is borrowed. Whole computer is borrowed from Windows 10 machine. This is the Windows 10 is lying on it. This on borrowing this Windows 10. This is also on the top of Windows 10, right? So VM1, so 192.168.2 dot what? So I said this is my dot 29. And then for this one, I think I assigned this one dot 24, right? Dot 24. So you get to dot. So you have you make. I'm giving you a choice. Just use your. If this is your student ID, okay. So then this second IP address for virtual server 1 would be 192. Cannot have same IP address for all the 3 machines, right? 168 dot. This homework you have to do. Dot 2. Otherwise, you need 1 month to complete this configuration. Dot 2 dot X. What is this X? Student ID. Last digit X is your last digit of your student ID plus 2 or plus 1 for this, right? And does that make sense? You can stop me if something not
Yes,
clear.
ma'am.
192.168.2 dot X plus 1 is here. X is your last digit. X is your last 2 digit or digit of student ID, right? So this is x plus 1 and this is x plus 2. So I said whatever number I have it, you don't have to copy this number. So I got this one here, dot 24, okay? So this is dot 24. So this is dot 24 for me. And this client, I think I gave 25, if I remember, dot 25, right? So this is how you're going to assign. This is number. This number make a different IP address. And this number make a different network ID. But we are not going out of our home network, right? We are going to connect it ourselves. If it starts from that dot 0 dot 0 dot, just adapt it, what you have, okay? Oops, yes. Yes, Akash, it make it, but you are the network admin. You make a policy, right? So you make a policy, and then this is a policy I'm giving you, starting from your student ID number and move on to on and on. But we just working with three piece of computer for sake of simplicity. Yes, you're right. It could. Then we use the DHCP list. Okay, just try to focus on, and there are so many things. If you try to touch every topic, then you're gonna be lost, and I don't want you to be lost. Ma'am, it's the DNS server of the client. Okay, it's the DNS server of client 1 and S1. What we need to, yes, this is what I'm trying to explain you. So this is your DNS server 2, correct? So what is the DNS ID? So DNS ID for this is the same one for the server machine where you have installed your DNS role. It's the same what you have it for the IP address of the DNS. .29, for instance, then it is .29. But it doesn't mean, and this is the gateway of your service provider, right? This is the gateway of your, otherwise, if you don't provide gateway information, the only problem would be you cannot go to the internet. You understand what I mean? If you don't provide your gateway information, right, it is in the same network as the gateway network. Gateway network and your computer network ID should be same. Anyways, so you provide this IP address here for server 2, server 1. That would be, please listen me carefully. This one, what is this one? They are not same. They are not alike on server 1. Why? What it is? What do you think? What this IP address is?
Host IP address.
Huh?
Server 2 IP address.
DNS server's IP address.
Yes. Server 2, you can say server 2 IP address or DNS IP address. This is how you named it, right? You said that server 2 is your DNS. This is what I suggested earlier in the first lab. Okay, so yes, this is the, remember, this is the server 2, and similarly, this window for client machine, the same, server 2 IP address. Got it now, Kapil? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the server 2 IP because that is your DNS server, right? Because this is what you have assigned it. And this is same gateway of your ISP, and this the number you calculated. Okay. All right. So once you've done this kind of configuration, so let's do the ping from one machine to another. So you go to, you can exit out. You say okay if you're configuring it now, and then you hit the okay. And then you go to your command prompt. What do you want to ping? You are on server 3 and server 1 is running right now. For instance, you can add /a option just in case if you want to see the fully qualified name of that computer or NetBIOS name of that computer. That's will include the NetBIOS name, or you can just ping first 192. I have the ping now. Ping 192.168.2. You want to ping dot, which one? This one? This is dot 20, 23, I think. Dot 24, okay. So this is dot 24. So I'm going to enter dot 24 here. So you got this response, take the screenshot. And one more thing I can suggest, you can add just -a there. If you add -a, it give you the, it will give you the server machine net BIOS name. So far you haven't configured it for the DNS. Otherwise it will give you the fully qualified FQDN number, FQDN name. So if you check IP config all, then you would see the name of the machine, right? Right now, routing and all those kinds, we're not going on that detail because we have different courses for that part. Anyways, so you get this one. So you get to now server 1 and do the same thing from there and ping your server, DNS server. Okay, one more thing I want to tell you, as I had configured my DNS, I have installed DNS on it. So what I suggest you use the option A on both sides. So that will help me to see your computer name as well when when you provide me your ping result, so I can see which computer has generated this ping result. Ping, and then if you're going to say you want to ping server 1, right? For instance, you go by.
Your screen is invisible.
Screen is not visible.
I don't know why it's auto disconnect sometimes. I didn't disconnect it. Anyways, so you can type in ping or server name, because I had the server DNS on this machine and I want to reach to, so I can reach by its name as well, just like Microsoft.com, because I had my DNS on this, but as I haven't completed configuration, because you want me to stop at this point. So if I do the same thing from here, ping server 3, right? So your case is server 2, because I have one or more server under something else. So Bizarra and dash. Oops, it works. Okay. So So I can go because DNS is there. So DNS is taking care of this name resolution. So you don't, if you don't remember the IP address and you would say, hey, I want to reach my server 3. So it's going to be there, right? It will reach to the server 3 by using the net BIOS name or fully qualified name will be, I'll tell you the fully qualified name. So you can do the ping in either way and see how does it work. And you can ping -A or and then IP address -A. So if you say -A there, then it's going to do the, so the TTL is time to live, you know, how long it's going to live this packet. It sends, this is then our RCMP call. ICMP call. ICMP call is a protocol and it sends to the machine and saying, hey, yeah, it's a packet is trying to reach you. Someone is trying to reach you. So it sends this 4 times and then 4 times sends and 4 times receives, 0 loss, right? So it's telling you where does it reach. It reaches to the server 3. Okay, now you can do the same thing on your other machines. So let me turn it. So you keep that server 3 on and you may turn off your or pause your server once for the sake of the simplicity and not using too many resources at the same time. So you can get to yes, as I made only myself pingable, right? So everybody now sending me a message only, right? Okay, 100% loss. So shall I enable everybody chat? It's gonna be decent, right? Remember. So I make it, I'm going to make everybody can communicate with each other, but remember to be decent when you're communicating with your friends. So yes, you guys can communicate with each other. Anyways, otherwise you're going to send only all the time, do this and this, the messages. I don't want to be the only resource in this class. Okay, so here.
We are following you, ma'am. We are doing the same.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So here you get to the client machine now. So this is my Windows 10 client and Windows 7 client. So you don't have to have the Windows 10 because you already running Windows 10 on your main machine. Start your Windows client. Remember the difference between the client operating system and the server operating system. So after showing this one step again, so you can have a quick break for 5 minutes and then I'll continue the topic. Okay, would it be fine?
Okay, ma'am.
So while I install it for 1 month before I taught this course the semester. So just is asking me, hey, it's the time to buy this operating system. Anyways, so I get to the IP address. Let's go to the IP address. 100% loss. Okay, I'll look at your machine. When everybody will go from break, I'll check your computer. Okay, no worries. So here you come to adapter setting and get to see the screen is same configuration wherever you go. Windows 10, Windows 7, server, the same method. And the main thing is you disable firewall. I think that I think I mentioned yesterday, right? Disable firewall, both sides. At least server 3, your server to DNS server and your client machine, because there's a PowerShell command. But I don't want to make the things complex. So as we are not working in a real production environment, Otherwise, disabling firewall is not recommended in real production environment. We need to do some administrative, a little bit more administrative step, which is a PowerShell command. Well, if I have a chance, and then I'll tell you further. Anyway, so here, this is my client IP in the same DNS server, which had been configured on server 2, right? So now let me see if I can, I think I showed you yesterday here. This is from the client machine, right? So this is from the client machine 29. So this is the Windows 7 client machine. So sending IP to 29, right? So the DNS server, right? Okay. Yes. So that's simple. So you get to there, configure complete configuration and run your CMD. Well, you can go try by typing a name as well, because DNS is there to resolve the name to the IP addresses. Ping 192.168.2.29. So you take this, don't forget to take the screenshot for the submission. So this way, and you can ping from here to server to, you know, it's 23, right? Let me double check. You remember this is the 23 pconfig. So DNS is now here, right? A gateway is there, and 25. This is 25. Okay. So ping 192.168.2.25, or you can ping by name. You remember, or you can ping by the option dash A. You know, that's going to say, okay, the pinging Bizarra, that is the name of my symbol client machine, innocent Windows 7. So you can get to there. That's a computer name. Okay, got it, everything done. So this is not the only part of the lab. This is 65% of the lab 3. So the next step is DNS configuration. Okay, have a 5 minutes break and take the screenshot if you haven't done that, and include this dash E option when we are pinging from one computer to another computer, so I can see the name of your source computer and destination computer. Okay, so, and then we will continue to the other configuration which we have to do with the DNS and IIS server. That's the two other configuration we need to perform. So we need to go to outside. How the other people can access this server from internet, right? They want to reach to your network. So what is the DNS name, domain name of your computer? So you're going to configure it here in IIS name. But before configuring IIS and DNS, I want you to have some background information so you know what you're doing. Okay. So you guys can have a break for 5 minutes or 10 minutes if you really need a big break. It's right now 1:05, so you can come around 1:15.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
To save this message and go to the next, press 9. To keep this message new and go to the next, press pound.
आके तैनू सामने मैं वेखी जावा जी भर के मैनू समझ नहीं आउंदी चन मेरे वे तू रख दिता की करके दिल करदा बिठा के तैनू चन मेरे वे तू रख
बड़े हरामी हो बेटा।
Yeah. What happened? What happened? I think it was
Ma'am,
resolved, right? Well, did you disable your firewall, right?
yes, ma'am.
Then,
Ma'am, it's still showing 100% loss.
excuse me, how did you configure IP address? So what is the configuration on your main machine? Virtual box. You remember this one? You go to the setting and check out your network setting. Is that Bridget or something else? You make it Bridget. And if you can have wireless, that will be good as well. Check it out for all the 3 virtual machines. Okay. That's all about your IP configuration. I think your quiz be ready there in 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Ma'am, it's bridge in all 3.
Okay, good. Let me read this Microsoft message. They're telling me something which I'm not following, right? Oh wait, updates. I'll do it updates later. Don't worry, Microsoft. Okay. Yes. So if I be looking at your, what is the configuration on your server 2? What did you enter for DNS server on 2 other machines?
Ma'am, same as server 2.
Okay, what is the default gateway on the 3 machines?
192.168.1.1.
So that is your ISP default gateway
Yes, ma'am, of the host machine.
of the host machine. Can you repeat it? 192.168.1.1.
Yes, ma'am.
So on the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then your network ID is 192.168.1, right?
Yes,
Correct?
ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
only the last octet you change. So you should be fine. Okay, if you really want me to check your resolve, someone text a message in the chat box and it is all hurrah and we resolve that problem. I thought that your problem is also resolved. Anyways, so let me give you the access. Bh, BH. Okay. Okay, so you can share your screen if you don't mind everybody looking at your computer, like mine. You know, all my computers secrets. You guys know, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Too many secrets.
Too many secrets, you know. Don't make it don't make it public, okay?
Ma'am, we will not do it.
Yeah, that's a copyright issue then.
We
Okay, so
can,
wait, wait,
we can just
wait,
add
wait.
you in that.
Huh?
We can
Sorry,
mention you in that.
I didn't get. Sorry, let me check his computer first. 192.1.21. He said, okay, 21 is your student ID, right? Last digit. .1 and dot. That is the problem here. This is server 1. Okay, this is server 1. Okay, if it is server 1 and .20 is your server 2. .20 is your server 2, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So .20 is your server 2. Okay, exit out. Exit out. You can go to the Google. Okay, I can see your network is available. Yeah, exit out, close it. When I say X out means this for cross, this is X. We call it X for close. Okay, go to the server 2. Server 2. Excuse me. Okay, server, go to the server 2. Is this server 2?
Yes, ma'am.
But I can not see your server 2. I can see only server 1 is still. Yes, close this one. Minimize it basically. You don't need to close the server. Minimize your server and go to the server 1. Sorry, server 2.
Ma'am, is it not showing server 2?
Well, I cannot see. Maybe other people can see. This is the title of your server machine says it's server 1. Go to your Oracle VirtualBox and see if server 2 is running there. Okay.
Now,
This,
ma'am.
yeah, I can see now. That sounds okay. 192.168. Okay. So what is your firewall setting? Okay, okay. Say okay. Or cancel it. Just cancel because you already configured it. If you go to the Ethernet tab on the right corner, yeah, you can go from here. Yes, go to the Ethernet firewall setting. Go back one more step. There is a up options, right? Up further until you see up further. Okay, exit out. Close it. Close this window. And there is a Ethernet connection at the bottom. Yes. Okay, got it. So at the right very end, check for turn on and off. So it's your firewall is on, right? So you turn it. So make sure, yeah, you turn it off, please. Turn it off. No, use the second option. Go down, yes. Disable it. Go down further, yes. Disable it. Say okay. You should be okay now. This is not recommended in real production. There's a PowerShell command, but you guys feel overwhelmed if I tell you that command. That's a little complex. So which basically use in real production environment where we say we need to make a tunnel basically for our intended client to communicate. But right now we just turn off the firewall for everyone anyways. So do the same thing on your client machine.
Done, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, I think it should be good. Yeah, that is the problem because your DNS is having a firewall setting active. Well, it is default active. It should be active, right?
Okay, ma'am.
I think it should, yeah, you check it out at the client side, the same thing. You can temporarily, for the sake of learning, you can temporarily disable it.